It's us.
How's it going, everybody? What's going on? Oh man, Leatherface keeps losing his nose. Look. How's it going,
Starting to
everybody?
put on that little winter coat. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, there you go. All right. So, how's it going, everybody? This is a community check-in with myself, Matt, your brand strategy lead here at Gun, and the one and only.
I'm Wes Keltner.
Yeah. If you guys don't know who we are, we, well, what are you really doing here? We're also joined today by my friend Nugget. There you go.
I mean, Nugget needs to be the new sound check. So
That's what we, yeah.
By the way, chat, are we good? Sound, audio,
Yeah.
like everything? Can we get some thumbs ups or some somethings to let us know if sound sounds good and picture quality's good? You can see Leatherface's nose on his shirt.
I'm Leatherface and I'm in your video game. There we go. Yeah. All right, so basically we wanted to go live today because there's we put out a patch. It's a massive patch, and I need to mute my laptop. We put out this massive patch, and as things can kind of go with that, you're running 272 or something.
There's a lot.
70 something fixes at a time. It turns into some things happen, right? Mm-hmm. So we wanted to make sure that we kind of, number one, check in with you guys, talk to you guys a little bit about some of those things that are happening, but also let you guys know what we're cooking up for an upcoming rapid patch.
Little rapid patch, and that's very normal. Like when you drop a patch as big as we did with that many fixes, because there's like it's splintered builds. Like there's a lot of different builds that we had before we did the big giant patch. So when you have that many different builds that are being patched independently, when you merge all those into one, which is you absolutely have to do to like have a stronger future of the title, you got to do that. Some things are not gonna go as planned. You can test them all day long, and still, once it's out in the wild, you'll notice like, oh, that's not great. So yeah, we'll need to put out a rapid patch to fix a few things that didn't go as smoothly as we wanted to.
And now, we have this Muerto Times that we like to do. We could have rolled just another Muerto Times today. We will be rolling a Muerto Times today, by the way. That'll be coming out shortly after the stream. But we also wanted to take a minute to actually, get in front of a camera for you guys. We know that the situation with rapid patching when the game first launched was, weekly patch. We were kicking ass for a while there. And then we had to move to a longer patch cycle in order to harden the build and get some things going. And also in order to be able to really like kind of noodle into some of those bigger problems, things that were a little deeper in the game. And, that being said, the situation with the cycle of Muerto Times patch notes patch, Muerto Times patch notes patch, that left a lot of people kind of used to that right when it came time for us to change it. And so in order to kind of, again, like I said, sit down in front of the camera and let you guys know where we're at and let you guys know everything's going to be all right. Don't, burn the house down just yet. We figured would be good to do a check-in. So that being said, we're going to do our community check-in now. We're going to get through a couple of items here. We're going to talk a little bit. We're going to take some questions from chat. When we're all wrapped for the day, we're going to run a Muerto Times. As soon as we have the patch notes, we're going to get those patch notes out to you. But before we go any further, I would like to actually let my co-host here share the potential targeted, as you guys know with rapid patches. We always target a date. We keep it that way because there's, anything can go wrong, and, that's kind of the life of game dev. But we have a targeted date for the upcoming rapid patch. And Wes, when is it?
Yeah, it looks like we're looking at Tuesday of next week. Could spill to Wednesday, but that's our target. It's holidays. It's sometimes there's not everyone is around, so there's a bit of that. But that's the target that we have right now is next Tuesday. Fingers crossed. Everything is all good to go there. And I want to shout out who's running the show for a second.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Right off the rip here, we need to point something out.
I almost forgot.
Rob is usually Rob is busy doing design, busy doing some fun future things that are coming to the game. Never know. But who's running the show right now? Can we get a camera throw? It's Mighty Mel. Yay! It's great to have other faces and other people that are manning the ones and the twos. You know what I'm saying? Like it's very, very cool. So shouts out to Mighty Mel, also head of all our customer support, and she's a firecracker. She's awesome. So shouts out.
Yeah. Also, you guys might have noticed, I don't want to spend too much time on it.
Oh, are we going to do a little product placement here?
Yeah, look at that. Look at that. I wonder how much those those gun boys paid for that product placement there. But
Right.
yeah, we launched.
Hashtag sponsor stream.
So we launched, the Texas Dry Rubs, which is pretty rad. Where can one get Matt's sweater? I want it so bad. Actually, I'm going to shout out Middle of Beyond real quick.
Middle of Beyond, yes.
Middle of Beyond makes this, and it's every bit as cool as it seems, and it's warm as heck.
Fantastic. I've met those guys. It's actually pretty much just one dude, but great shop if you're into anything horror related. They do things a little differently. So if you don't want just a traditional, boring shirt that you've seen like the key art of a film a million times on a shirt, Middle of Beyond. Check them out. Great website. I'm also sporting a little something today.
Oh, there you go.
Oh, we can't get it on camera, but it's without showing my crotch off, it's Don't Torture a Duckling. If you're some of the Fulci fans out there,
there you go.
Shouts out to the Giallo stuff. So anyway, moving on. Let's do the important things that we're really all here for, and not talking about the shit we're wearing.
Yeah, well, yeah. You're right. We're all friends here, but we have work to do. The number one thing that I think we should really touch on is going to be the UI bug for Leatherface.
Yeah, that's a big one. Yeah.
Basically, I'm going to kick the laptop. Nug, if you don't mind, I'm going to scoot you down. I'm going to kick the laptop aside. Basically, the situation with the UI bug for Leatherface, it's important to kind of understand what we mean when we say there's a UI bug going on. Right now, the rev meter for Leatherface, that fills up as you rev the chainsaw, which leads to you being able to go overhead with it. You can kind of feather it at a certain point, and then you can do your slam attacks. That UI element is not accurately depicting where you're at in the rev right now. Basically, when I say not accurately also, it's showing you as safer as far as a max rev than you are.
Yes.
You're actually closer to overheating than it's showing. And that's causing a lot of real hiccups and issues because players are overheating a lot sooner than they would normally. So that being said, that's something that we have to fix. Now, the tricky part with this overheat issue, or with this UI element that's leading to the overheat issue, is there's some other things that may be going on there with Leatherface, but we can't really start needling into those until we get through this UI bug.
Right.
So what we wanted to do was include in this rapid patch a fix for the UI issue, get that sorted so that we can see what effect that has on some of the other things that we're kind of seeing crop up with Leatherface right now. We can't really we'd be, shooting in the dark trying to poke at those elements without getting this sorted out first. But we're relying on you, our community, to also make sure that you're communicating with us depending on what happens from here forward. So once this patch goes out and the UI issue's right, the overheat / stall / whatever is functioning the way you would expect it to with the UI that's being presented to you, hopefully you guys can report on anything else you see. And, there's also a solid chance that you're not going to see any of the issues that you're seeing right now anymore. It could be mostly tied to this. But
right. That's why you target, why we target that one first is if that's out of sync, like if what you're seeing versus what's happening in game is out of sync, it makes complete sense why we're seeing more people, stall and having that issue, and seeing that and feeling that doesn't feel good. And that being the number one thing that we target to say, I think we got to start with this one first. It's never a good idea to just start turning a bunch of knobs and changing a bunch of things all at once, and then you end up shifting too far or breaking something more than what it needed. So we do, like Matt was saying, we do know there's still probably something that needs to be adjusted with that, but this is the sort of the bigger thing that we see that we want to make that change or make that fix now. And then you guys come back to us after that's out in the wild and say, yeah, that feels right now, or there's still something here that's, seems off. And but we're going to keep poking at it because it's just, that's how game dev works. You just kind of always lifting the hood and seeing what's going on.
Yeah, there's a lot of things like that with this. And I think that it goes back to our point earlier about 270 fixes or whatnot. When you put something like that large of a patch out, there's so many areas that are being touched that we're confident in the work that we do, but by the same note, game dev sometimes is a little bit of a fickle kind of situation. So we're gonna get the UI element fixed up. We're counting on you guys to help us out, seeing what happens from there on out. The next thing I want to talk about, though, Danny permanently opening the fuse box exit. This is a tricky one because Danny is not supposed to be permanently opening up that fuse box exit. Danny is supposed to be adding to the amount of time that the fuse box exit stays open. So We want to dig into Danny a bit. Now, I know there's a lot of people, I'm already seeing it in chat. I know there's a lot of folks saying, just in general, nerf Danny. You've heard me say before, various places, Twitter, Reddit, things like that. We like to take a more measured approach. We try not to go too crazy with these changes too quick. Now, I know some of you will probably criticize and say, oh, this change was too heavy. But, again, it's, kind of up to interpretation and opinion. But from our side, we like to try to take a more measured approach with these things, especially with balancing items like, for instance, Danny. One thing we know for sure is the fuse box door is not supposed to stay open permanently.
Right.
That's an issue. That's something we have to take care of. So that's on our list, and that'll be fixed in this rapid patch. And, I know everybody was listening to the Danny news and going, just talk about Johnny, so let's just get to Johnny. Johnny's movement and lunge.
Yeah, that was a problem.
Yeah. If you don't mind, I'll take the rip here. Johnny's supposed to lunge. He's supposed he is a natural predator. He's supposed to be one of our more focused killers. He's more prolific at it. He's more like a serial killer. He's a shark, really. And oh god, I just reminded myself of Busta Rhymes. Never mind. Anyway, Michael Myers is a shark. Sorry. So he's like a shark, and so he's supposed to have that lunge. What he's not supposed to do is gain speed by swinging his weapon. Now, the situation was one where we were seeing on the actual data of the game that lunging attack was creating a boost in speed. And when we needled in and started trying to tinker with that to fix that, there's this whole spider web there with animations and things like that that led to some issues that tacked on. That's what you guys are seeing now, those issues. So basically, we wanted the lunge in there and we wanted to fix the speed, but in doing so, we've created some problems that we need to kind of tease out. So we're reverting the Johnny change. It's more important that he has a lunge and feels smooth than it is to worry about that speed boost. So
that's the takeaway, is that it's supposed to be about distance and not about being able to move through a map faster. He's not supposed to have like a higher top speed necessarily. Right. It's supposed to be about being able to lunge, and then seeing that change that went in, it wasn't in the direction that we had intended for it to go. I think it was a little too severe, and so we're just rolling that back to the way it was, but knowing that we're still going to need to tweak that. Yeah.
The one thing I think that's very important, Wes just hit on it, and I think we have to kind of asterisk say it again. There will be changes coming to Johnny and the way Johnny moves. We want to do them in a way that's clean and maintains that lunge and all of that.
Correct.
And obviously there was a situation here, so...
If that's the takeaway when you're listening to what we're saying right now about Johnny, he's going to go back to the way it was, and some of you are going to be like, hooray! But know that in the future, it's not speed, it's distance that the lunge is supposed to be doing. And that's what we need to get in and adjust. Not we're going to take his lunge back away again. No, it's the speed of that is what needs to be tweaked. So hopefully that clears that up and that makes sense.
Yeah. It's really the expectation of, know that this is something that's going to be a continuous thing. There's another one here. This one's a little easy. There's a victim invincibility situation with some hiding spots. There's a couple of things going on with hiding spots right now, but I want to clarify that this is a situation where you're grabbing a victim and they can become invincible when entering or exiting a hiding spot. And that invincibility is not like an iframe. That invincibility is, now I cannot be killed for the rest of the match.
Yeah, it's a state change error. It's a bug in the state,
That being said, there is some things going on there that, victims entering and exiting and entering and being able to loop those hiding spots that can potentially be a problem, and we're still kind of digging in and investigating that. But for the bug side of it that renders someone completely unkillable, that's fixed.
Yep.
And this one's kind of fun. We're nerfing Nugget. So someone in chat just said, Nugget seems like a problem now. And so I was like, this is a perfect time to talk about our friend. We're nerfing Nugget.
If you want chat to turn against you, you just did it.
Everybody's like, Nugget, no. So you want to kick this one off? What are we doing to the Nug, man?
I guess what it's coming down to is I'm going to give like a specific example of something so that there's a takeaway that makes sense. you're in a building, and there's on the other side of the wall there's Nugget in a cage, and whenever you get close to that wall, Nugget is being alerted even though Nugget doesn't see you. Obviously, it's not supposed to work that way. The wall is supposed to occlude his like capsule of alert, and we've seen a few spots where that occurs, and so holistically, like sort of Nugget's being looked at and where it is on map locations and what's that capsule around him for being alerted. That whole thing is being looked at, and that's being adjusted for the patch.
There's one more area too that kind of in this process of, okay, something's going on with Nug. People were sending in reports and things showing that psychic Nug through the wall.
Yeah.
That kind of led to some other investigations and thoughts. Noise sticks to the victims now. So as the victims are running through the world and triggering a Nugget, it's sticking to them, and that's changing. So that's like kind of changing how Nugget's role in the game in general. And so kind of, I guess the word I'm looking for is sharpening down the Nugget situations and the Nugget encounters now. So, shout out to the folks reporting the Nugget through the wall, because I think that kind of opens the eyes to a significant amount of things that we're like, well, now that this is changing and that's changing, we have to take another look at this. But some of that was done in the big patch. You'll notice there were some Nuggets added, and we've been playing a little bit with where they populate the map. But again, live games that's kind of how this goes. So yeah, our list, there's obviously going to be a hell of a lot more going into this rapid patch. Some of it is, these were the heavy hitters. These were the elements that we had to make sure we talked to you guys about and got them said. There's some more things in there. Obviously, you'll know more about it as soon as we have the patch notes. We aim to have the patch notes on Monday, like we usually do. Muerto Times later today. Patch notes Monday. And we're shooting for Tuesday. And as we always said throughout the rapid patch phase, which this falls under the category of a rapid patch, the target being Tuesday, things happen. And if something goes wrong with CERT, if something goes wrong with something, and that could push things out. So just keep that in mind, and don't get too angry if you hear from us that, hey, it's going to slip.
We need another day or whatever because something went wrong or whatever. Like and again, like I said, especially with the holiday, not everybody. We can't do an all hands because not all hands are available. But
speaking of, we will be taking some time off for the holiday, so we'll talk to you guys more about all of that on our official channels. So give us a little grace in that period, but we want to get this done and out the door beforehand. So, so now with that being said, I think we should probably tackle a couple of questions from the chat. One person just goes, is Johnny getting a buff? Is Danny getting nerfed? It's almost like you missed the stream. Maybe watch the past broadcast, catch up, and then we'll talk about it, But let me grab the laptop and let's get to some questions from chat real quick. I just saw one fly by. We're going to pull this back up. Will the original victims be able to have some of Danny's unique perks? There's perks that seem fitting for the past victims. I think that, and again, if you don't mind, Wes,
please
launch straight into this. I think that the situation with that is as simple as we don't have anything off the table. We don't have any situation where we're like, we wouldn't do that as far as perks are concerned. But we have to be careful because, as you guys know, you can easily throw things out of whack with perks when you start slotting new things in. We do want to, at one point, like we discussed the last time Wes and I were on this couch, we discussed wanting to extend that tree up, maybe out. We're not sure. Once we get to a point where we know what we want to put in that extension, then we can start thinking about that. But it's not off the table, but by the same note, it's also something that we wouldn't do on a whim or without the proper amount of work going into it. And we do have a perk update coming down the line at some point in the near future. So that would probably wait for that so that everybody, from both Sumo and Gun, we could be focused on perks and kind of really dive into that stuff. But, ooh, here's a good one for you.
For me?
Yeah.
Uh-oh.
Any new outfits or DLC coming?
Yeah.
I love when Wes answers like that.
Yeah, but yeah, we've got things planned. Yes, you can expect that in the future. Some things maybe sooner than you might realize. So yeah, stay tuned.
There you go. Will double XP ever be permanent? No. Or will it come back? Yes.
It will come back.
That's
yeah.
pretty easy, right?
Yeah.
Let's see here. Thoughts on splitting family victim voice, text, comms, and pregame lobby would help coordinate before the match. I see where you're coming from, meme dude. That's an interesting one. I think though that right now we're kind of in this area of we have that mute all option, so you can silence the folks from the other side. We know a lot of folks that are trying to coordinate use Discord for comms. I think that it might make sense in the near future to do like a mute the other team or something. But again,
Oh, that's an interesting like UI like addition.
Yeah.
Like have a button that's like mute the opposing side so that just victims are talking or just family are talking to each other if they want to coordinate that way. I could see that.
Yeah, I do have to say though, Wes actually brought up a very key bit of that UI addition and things like that. These things often have a tendency to take a bit of time, even if the work itself is not that time consuming because you're touching UI. There's localizations. There's
The separate. If you just had separate, that's much more. It's much more work because you have to set up 2 voice servers that partition the 2 people off. Just off the cuff, that's a lot harder to do. It take a lot longer. There are a lot more bugs that can come from that, and issues of stuff syncing properly. Where just keep them in the same server. You just click a button that says,
mute deafen,
mute
however,
other team or whatever it says. That's a bit easier to tackle, but still, there's UI tack on and things that need to be tested because it's not just like create button in Photoshop, put in game, it works.
I see one question here that I'm not going to answer, but I'm going to read and we're going to talk about.
Oh,
Don't you love when I do that kind of shit?
a non-answer? You're gonna give a non-answer?
Yeah, well, that's okay. What is Cook and Nancy's relationship? We're not going to answer that.
Okay.
But the reason being,
Yeah, I was gonna say, why aren't we?
yeah, the reason being is we're planning a very, very fun upcoming live stream. We'll have some new faces from Gun involved, and
Who's gonna be here?
The one, the only, Mr. Ronnie Hobbs.
That's right. Creative
He's gonna come
director
talk.
For Texas Chain Saw Massacre. Ronnie will be here to give you the full, in-depth. We're talking. Who knows how long that stream will go?
Yeah.
Yeah, and we'll be prepared with that. We'll be able to throw some, picture-in-picture stuff up to even talk about like key art and inspiration and all this kind of stuff. Will be should be a really cool stream for the people who are really into lore and really want to get to know these characters, and just the inspiration for like some of the levels and the level design and all that we can get into. Should be a pretty fun stream, and look for that when we get back from the break.
Now, let's see. What about Danny's Insta study and Insta tamper? Again, I apologize. You guys might have missed the bit where we talked about Danny. There are some things with Danny that we're investigating, but we want to make sure that we're taking our time to be careful with them. And so, yeah, there's a situation with him being able to permanently keep the fuse exit door open. So that obviously is unintended, and that's something that we're fixed. The instant tamper, there's an issue there where we have to kind of dig into the top end of his skill. That being said, those investigations and conversations and that design talk is already happening. But that's not the kind of thing that we're going to slam into a rapid patch. We're going to take our time. We're going to get to the bottom of that, get it to a spot where we like it, and then roll something out with a little more breathing room to
Properly tested.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Let's see. Will Nancy Trapp's keybind be changed? It can be very killer going down a well, and it's getting laggy downstairs. Okay, that looks like 3 questions piled into one. The Trapp's keybind. I'm not sure I follow. If you want to follow up and chat and let us know. If you're talking about keybinding on a console, that's a separate issue. Keybinding on PC should be in there, and you should be able to keybind your trap placement.
If you can't do that, that
might be a
that
bug,
would be
yeah.
news to me, and I would definitely please let me know if you're on PC and you can't do that. I do know that like recently someone reported that they can't change the mouse scroll
Yeah.
to what they wanted, and I was like, oh really? And I jumped in quick, had a quick call, and I was like, yeah, sure enough, like that one wasn't something that was able to be rebindable, and I'm making that a priority for the next big patch that we'll have in 2024. So if that's a thing, please let us know. Or if there's anything else that's related to key binding that either isn't in there or it's not the way that some folks want it, let us know so that I can get that all into one patch instead of it being something we nickel and dime over the next however long it takes to get like all the proper feedback from everybody of what they're looking for.
Can I buy Nugget for $500? No, you cannot. Who do I talk to about Johnny? You talk to our community team on all of our official channels. I would say head over to the Reddit because it sounds, by your question here, like you're going to have long-form conversations that you want to have. Reddit is the best place to do that. You can get in there, you could type a whole long paragraph and go back and forth with our wonderful community team, Andy and Sid. Shout out to our community team out there.
Shout out.
Helping out. Yeah, you can talk to them about it. They do an excellent job of surfacing everything about, everything feedback to the rest of the team and keeping everybody informed. So by all means, hit the Reddit and give them the longer feedback since that's what it looks like there. Why it takes a long time to fill in the last family member spot? And I've seen a couple of ones here about the matchmaking situation, a couple of people referencing the matchmaking issue about that last family member spot.
Mm-hmm.
We've actually investigated this how many times now? I think 2 to 3 times.
At least 3 of a full in-depth, like on the server side, like server logic, matchmake logic, like what is there something that's wrong here? And every single exercise we've done, the code is correct, the logic is correct. So there's something else outside of that. Now, is some of that maybe player behavior for dodging? Maybe. Because we've also seen that people can dodge. I'm sorry, people can enter lobby and dodge before it's even visible. Like you don't even notice they did it. So if they're like, I want to play as insert character, whatever it is, they join a lobby, see that character slot is taken, and immediately escape back out. To those that are setting in the lobby, they didn't even see that happen because it switches it that fast. And so that's still frustrating. So there's player behavior that could be a thing, but every time we lift the hood and go down that route of is this a logic thing, it doesn't appear to be that. Now, one thing, dropping a little scoop here, that you're probably going to be like, dude, why do you say that? Because I'm saying it.
Because I want it.
Early next year, we're just going to remove the timer out of the lobby completely, so that there's nothing that's like counting down until X amount of people are there, and then the timer just it's like 5 seconds and the match is starting. Therefore, it gives the server proper time to backfill. If people continuously dodge, somebody somewhere is going to say, I'm fine with playing with that character, just let me in. So expect that as a thing in very, very early next year.
There you go. I have somebody here saying, here's a great exercise. Just play the game. Just play it, and you will see the issue. And I wanted to touch on this. I get that there's a dig in there, and I get that you're upset and you're frustrated. There's been a little bit of rumblings about how much they do play the game. They don't even play the game. Do they test the game?
Who, us?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. I just wanted to kind of quickly put it at least to bed as much as I can, because let's be honest here, there's going to be people who are going to hear me talk here and walk away and continue to think that we don't touch the game. It's kind of an absurd thought that we haven't put the last 5 years at this point of our lives into this game. It's an absurd thought to think that we would take something that close to us and then, get in there and swing hammers around and make a mess out of it without the care that it deserves after basically being something we lived for the last 5 years of our lives. We play the game. We play the game significantly. We test the game significantly internally. We've been playing this game a hell of a lot for a very long time. This concept that we don't know what's going on with our game because we haven't played it is a silly one. So let's just put it to bed, get that out of the way. Not going to catch any flies with that honey. And let's just move on to some questions that are, mean something. Sissy debut album when? Now that's the perfect question to follow up with. I'm in the same camp. We need to do that. Sunny Buff. Sunny and characters like Sunny. Also, I saw somebody mention a Sissy buff. They wanted to see something with Sissy and how she operates in hiding spots. Maybe, I think it was Reset Reload said, let's get, some changes to how she hides so that you can do some more jump scares and things like that.
Mm.
I think there's a lot of things that we've seen along those lines, and like the Sunny Buff conversation we've seen. We've obviously, you guys, every time we go live, you guys are bringing that to our attention. I think that's things that are they're a little longer to work through. They're not something that's going to make its way into a patch like this. The 270 fixes in the big patch were things that we wanted to get tackled throughout the rapid patch phase, but the situation with rapid patching meant we had to harden the build, get to a point where we could do that. So we wanted to get those things in, like car on gas station, for example. Had to wait to get them in until we were further along in that process. So yes, there's things that we would like to take a look at and things that we'd like to do. There's conversations going on with design right now based on this feedback, but everything does take time. And so we hear you on the Sunny Buff situation. We hear you on the Danny this and the Sissy that conversation. These things are, not lost on us, and they're long-term conversations that we're having. And we're just going to grab one or two more, and then we're going to call it here, guys. So get your questions in. We've got, obviously, tons of work to get back to doing, so we're going to call it soon. Will the victims ever start screaming when being chased, like in the trailer? Do you want to speak a little bit to that audio situation there?
I mean, I hear it. I hear that as a request. I mean, there's a tack onto that might not be the best, is if you're trying to give the family the slip and your character's just like screaming their head off, and you can see how you as the player would be like, stop yelling, shut up, I'm trying to get away and be quiet. And now, could they be screaming like just local to you? I mean, I guess, but it's like a weird thing for us to build and put in just for that like moment. I think it would probably feel better if you were the family member chasing someone and you heard them screaming like that. That would be cool. But again, that's sort of negating. It feels like a powerful thing to do if you're trying to escape the family, give them the slip, get into a hiding spot, get away. It seems like it might not be the best. While cinematically speaking, I 100% agree with you. It would be really cool to see. But I'm afraid it would, that's the impact of that. So hopefully that makes sense.
I also saw a comment in here that was asking about the Nicotero audio, or the Nicotero chainsaw rather, when that's going to be available. That's coming at a later date. That's something that we kind of like. The situation came up where we had that conversation on the check-in stream with Sid. We kind of left that and went, hey, what could we do here? Is that a possibility? And then, as you guys know, you saw regular Leatherface carrying the Nicotero saw. So, we want to make that happen. We wanted to have a little fun with you guys with that trailer, but by the same note, that's gonna take a bit. We're gonna go into 2024 with that one.
Yep.
One more thing I wanted to get out of the way here. I see a question from Jay. Matt, I would like to look at my perks loadouts while ready up in the lobby. I understand where you're coming from on that. There's an issue there. Most folks don't like that situation of, I'm in there looking at my loadouts. Oh, I got the wrong loadout on. Let me move things around, and then the match starts because they were readied up. So I get where you're coming from, that it would be nice to view it, but it also would potentially create problems. And who knows, also possibly, correct me if I'm wrong, issues with you being midway through some type of change when the match starts and blanking out your loadout and whatnot. There's a little more to it than I think at surface level there is immediately clear, but absolutely that's something we can report on. And that's something that we need to be bringing to the community team over on the subreddit or on Twitter.
Yep.
Get them reporting that to the design team. I think we're pretty good here. I would say when new execution for family, we have those things coming. Yeah, it's a lot of the same. When's this coming? When's that coming?
Yeah, when we had a stream that we did, I don't know when that was. It feels like a month ago now, where we sat down and sort of spilled the beans on a lot of stuff that people had questions about. Are you going to do this? Are you going to do that? So I would advise go back. It's a long stream, I'll tell you that, but there's a lot of gems in there. And I'm sure some of your favorite YouTubers did like a recap of the stuff that we said in that stream, and that's going to answer a lot of the questions that you're having about future content. Are you doing stuff with the other movies in the franchise? Like we talk about all those things in that other stream. So I'd recommend watching that.
Yeah. Absolutely. It's also up on our YouTube, so in case you don't want to watch through Twitch, if you want to watch there, head over to the Gun Interactive YouTube. Yeah. All right, guys, that about does it. Somebody highlighted their message to just say bots. I don't know if we're bots or what, but
Yeah.
neat. All right, guys. Listen, that's going to do it for us. We won't be going live again before the holiday. So, first off, thanks for hanging out with us. Thanks for spending the time here today. Thanks for all your patience and all of your feedback on our video game. We appreciate it. We appreciate all of our community. Make sure you keep the feedback coming over on the official subreddit, the official Twitter accounts, all of our socials, really. And, yeah, keep an eye out for the Muerto Times. Keep an eye out for patch notes. Keep an eye out, hopefully, Tuesday, maybe Wednesday, for the upcoming Rapid patch. And I hope you guys all have a safe holiday and, don't drink too much on New Year, and we'll see you guys soon.
Yeah. Happy holidays, everybody.
Take care, gang. Thank you.